So I'm just showing some footage of me playing No Man's Sky just now. Actually, I just recorded this a few minutes ago, and the reason I'm making this video is because I wanted to draw people's attention to a mod which has basically revolutionised the performance for me. I'm playing in virtual desktop on my Quest 3, and what I'm using is this tool called Decompressinator, and it's something I've been vaguely aware of for a couple of months now really, but I've always been a little bit skeptical about it. I've never dived in, but the mod is available on Nexus and also on GitHub as well. There's a direct download on GitHub, and I'll put these links in the description to this video. And also this video will have timestamps, so if you want to skip ahead on how to install this, then you can do so with the timestamps on this video. But I just wanted to explain a little bit about this mod and why it's changed everything. So you can see I'm running FPS VR overlay at the bottom of the screen there, just so you can see clearly that I'm running at a relatively consistent 72 frames per second. This is probably the most consistent, the most smooth experience I've ever had in No Man's Sky, and I installed this mod for the first time yesterday. I've been messing around with it for a while. I wanted to make sure that it really was doing what I thought it was doing, you know, after that first experience. And you can see it's running at a rock solid 72 frames per second pretty much all the time. Now, it's not completely consistent. There are some things that you'll notice some spikes here and there perhaps in this footage. I'm not 100% sure, but this is basically more or less uninterrupted footage that I'm showing anyway. Now, on the video itself, it might not look perfectly smooth or anything like that. It's captured with 60 FPS. YouTube is showing it at 60 frames per second. That's why I'm showing FPS VR overlay at the bottom, so you can see the consistency of the frame rate that I have just been seeing in the headset. Now, No Man's Sky is a game which suffers a lot from stutters, sharp CPU spikes every now and again when you're playing on the standard install of this game. The reason for that is because it's using the CPU to decompress various assets and shaders and things like that on the fly. You'll particularly notice this actually when you leave the atmosphere of a planet, and you'll get a sharp stutter on PC or a sharp lag, and it will sort of pause almost for a second, maybe sometimes even longer than a second, depending on the PC that you're playing on. And of course this will vary a lot on the PC that you're using, but it's basically unavoidable on PC, and this has actually been spoken about by the developers of this game as well at various times on Twitter. They've spoken about some of the differences between the PC version and some of the challenges of the PC version, and then also the console version, the PS5 version. So if you play this game on the PSVR 2, for example, you'll notice that although you still get stuttering and it's not perfect performance or anything like that, what you'll notice is when you leave the atmosphere of a planet and go into space, you won't get that sharp stutter, that sharp lag that you do get on the PC side. Now, what this mod does, the Decompressinator mod, what it does is it basically unpacks all the files, and I'll go into a few of the caveats and some of the problems with this mod as well, some of the downsides of it, but it unpacks all these files that it sometimes has to do on the fly. So for example, when you leave the atmosphere of the planet, you go into space and it has to load some of the meshes of the objects that you'll find in space. That's why you get that sharp lag, and this decompresses all of those, so the CPU doesn't have to do it on the fly. It's basically streaming it from the install drive that you have No Man's Sky installed on, and it will show them pretty much instantaneously. The caveat with that is that you'll get most benefit from this mod if you install it, if you've got No Man's Sky installed on a very fast SSD, or ideally like a NVMe drive, and that's what I do. So my C drive, my Windows installation is on a NVMe drive in my PC, and I don't generally install a lot of games on that, but I've got things like Elite Dangerous and No Man's Sky is installed on there, and this mod will unpack all of those files and make them ready to use, and it can improve performance. Again, if you're installing it on a fast enough drive, and your mileage will vary from PC to PC on this, so don't expect it to be, you know, a flawless experience or anything like that. Although I will say that for me and on my PC, it's made a pretty big difference. So that's why I wanted to make this video really, just to make people aware if they're struggling to get decent performance in VR on No Man's Sky. I don't know if you'll notice as much difference if you only play in flat, but in VR I'm noticing quite a big difference really. So you can see I left the planet, no stutter, going into space and things like that, there's no problems at all. It does occasionally dip below 72, but for the most part, I mean, I'd say around sort of 90 95% of the time, I'm getting absolutely flawless 72 frames per second frame rate from this experience now, and that wasn't the case. I should have gone in and recorded some side by side so you could see it beforehand, but for anybody who's experienced No Man's Sky on PC, you'll know that generally you're going to experience quite some quite sharp stutters every now and again, no matter what PC you play on, and it can be mitigated on more powerful PCs, of course, but you know, this is just something that is inherent in the engine. Again, it's been spoken about by the devs themselves in terms of how it streams. So this Decompressinator mod, it's actually using part of, I mean, I don't understand everything to do with the technical specifications of this, but I'll put another link in the description to this video as well, which explains it far better, and it uses something called the PlayStation Arc tool actually to decompress these files and make them ready to use on the PC. It's a very simple mod to install. It just takes a few seconds to actually install the mod, but then you have to run it through and allow it to run the process of decompressing all these files, which can take probably 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, something like that. But once it's done, it works great. And yeah, this is the most flawless experience I've had in No Man's Sky since I've played it in VR. So yeah, I'm very much impressed, and yeah, for anybody interested, check out the links in the description. I think I've gone through everything I wanted to mention in this video, but I may have cut it just so you can get some varied planets and things like that as well, so you can see this running on various planets in those 72 frames per second. But for the most part, I wanted to keep this video generally unedited, just so you could see the captured footage unedited, so you could see I wasn't, cheating or cutting any corners. I do want to make it clear as well, this isn't a catch-all. It won't make a flawless experience, it just drastically improves it. You will still be on some planets which require, more performance, and you'll still get certain stutters here and there, but it's like, I mean, I'm not exaggerating, for me it's like a night and day experience for me on my PC anyway. So yeah, check it out if you want to get a slightly more flawless experience in No Man's Sky. Oh, one of the downsides though, what are the downsides of this? I forgot that. So the downsides are the fact that you're going to need hard drive space. So if you've got this installed on a fast drive, it's going to require currently around about 44 gigabytes extra storage. So that's quite a lot. I don't really care about it on my system, but if storage space is a premium on your system, then this might not be for you. But for me, it really isn't a factor. It doesn't matter too much. I've got plenty of room on that C drive anyway, and I do sort of reserve that generally as just a Windows drive. So I've got plenty of room just for an extra bit for No Man's Sky anyway. That's the general downside of it. You'll also get a warning in No Man's Sky. After every update, it will probably give you a warning to say that the files have been tampered with. All you need to do to rectify that is to rerun the Decompressinator again, and it doesn't take anywhere near as long to do it a second time once it's been done once. So that will resolve that as well. But anyway, that's the end of this little section of the video. I will just go into another section now where I'll show you how to install the mod. So to install the mod, it's very simple. Just go into the GitHub link. I'm showing you for the GitHub link that I've put in the description to this video. But the Nexus mods link is also there if you prefer that. But if you go into that page, you can scroll down. This shows you how it works, gives you a little bit more detail. But then just click on latest releases. And then you'll see here you can just download the compressed file. So just download that file to somewhere on your PC, extract it, and then within that folder you'll see that these files are there. So you've got 3 files and then a readme. Basically all you need to do then is to select these 3 files and then copy those into your No Man's Sky directory. So on my PC, it's installed on the C drive. Go into Program Files, x86, then go to Steam and Steam Apps, then Common Files, then No Man's Sky, Game Data, and PC Banks. And then you copy these 3 files into that directory. I've already unpacked everything here, but you can see then these 3 files are still in this directory. All you then need to do is then double click on this batch file, the NMS Decompressinator, and that will go through the process of sorting it all out for you. As I say, it can take around 10 to 15 minutes, something like that, but once it's done once, the second time won't take as long. So that's pretty much it. Once it's done, go in and give it a try, see the results on your system. Hopefully you get some decent results. But that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.